All right, welcome back. We continue with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Continue the topic of the Penguins, who made a big deal last night. Kessel to Arizona, Galchenyuk, and Joseph here coming to Pittsburgh. Chris, let me ask you about anyone else could be next. We talked about where they are in the salary structure. They save about $1.9 million. That could help them in free agency. They're not going to get any big-time players. They still need help. Will they try to do something with guys like Jack Johnson or Hornqvist?
I would love to see them try. I mean, that'd be awesome. I just don't know what you're going to do. Hornqvist, you know, here's the sad part. Hornqvist, they have to just pray, was just banged up and had a weird off year. I don't really believe that. I think that contract looks just as onerous right now as Jack Johnson's. And who takes Jack Johnson? The only idea I saw posited after this trade was made last night was that Galchenyuk and Jack Johnson could get packaged to get Zucker from Minnesota. But why would...
So Minnesota's in the business
of making
searching out bad contracts?
Hold on. Minnesota's in the business of taking crappy contracts of crappy players? Yes. I mean, I'm not saying it was a good theory. I don't know. I think they're going to have to try to find some depth guys that fit. And that's always the sort of devil in the details with the Penguins. Can you find players at reasonable prices, always hard during free agency, who fit what you want to do and are going to fit what the coach
Bob,
wants
I
to do?
wonder if Jim Rutherford, who we know just went into the Hall of Fame and he's headed there because he's a guy that makes bold moves, if he's got another salary-clearing trade on his table to set up space for a higher-tier free agent. So what I'm insinuating is maybe Brian Rust gets traded between now and noon tomorrow. He's, what, a $3 million player. He's just like Ole Mata, a younger guy that a team might say, we put him in a top 6 role. He thrives there. He's won 2 cups. He's been a clutch performer. And maybe that paves the way for the Penguins to do something that affects either their top 6 or their top 4 defensemen.
Well, I think the interesting thing, again, we keep talking about contracts, but unless Jim Rutherford can meet a general manager somewhere at a bar and get that general manager to drink a lot, I'm not sure how he's going to get anyone to take some of these contracts off of his hands.
I think someone would take Rust, Paul. I don't think Rust is off the table.
Okay, but why are you trading him? I'm not sure how.
Because he's not that good.
Because he's not a $3.5 million player.
He's like a poor man's Justin Williams in terms of making big plays in Game 7.
But the whole point is you're trying to bring in depth guys. I mean, isn't he a depth guy in some way?
Yeah, he's good at that. He can play
the
a lot of
bottom line
places.
is, I don't know, you're just kind of at that point switching chairs.
Paul, if you're saying that that the goal here is going to be Rutherford has to get another GM to make a trade that we would all think is kind of a crazy deal. In the NHL, that seems pretty commonplace, frankly. These guys are a pretty big old boys club, and they do each other favors a lot.
And he found someone to take Rob Scuderi.
Right. But again, I think if you look at all the guys that would make sense for them to trade, I mean, you look at their contracts, I don't know how you're moving those guys.
I don't think Rust is a terrible idea by Andrew. I think that's somebody that's out there that makes the right number and is going to be attractive enough to enough potential suitors that Jim Rutherford, if he puts that little hook in the water, I think that might get some fish.
All right, you talked about this earlier. I want to extend it even, talking about contracts, because Mike Sullivan now, and I agree with Andrew, who says that, or was it you, Chris, that he's won this little battle with
I said
Kessel.
That.
Okay,
that was Andrew.
That was you. All right, Andrew, I'll ask you about that. Does that mean he gets the contract? Should he get the contract? And beyond that, what about Matt Murray? Even though they have some space, they're going to have to give up some money, especially to Matt Murray, of course. How much will it cost? Is it worth that?
I think Sullivan is a done deal. I think he got his way, so I believe that'll happen in the next couple months.
You think it
should? No, I don't. I think every NHL head coach, to be honest with you, outside of maybe like the second coming of Scotty Bowman, should always be year to year. I would never lock up an NHL head coach long term because
he could also have a good year there and then move elsewhere.
Fair enough. That's what Barry Trotz did.
Right. Turned into Barry Trotz.
Didn't they just hire the AHL guy that they really like, that Rutherford has a history with?
So,
I mean, does that not seem like dark clouds on the horizon if this goes at all
Chris,
belly up?
I would not give Murray a contract extension. I'm sorry. I'm not really interested in giving a goaltender $6-7 million in today's NHL when I just watched Jordan Binnington win the Stanley Cup when he got called up around Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So I'm not paying a premium for a goaltender, especially when I'm up against the cap.
Especially a goaltender that has a history of getting hurt and a history of concussion and a history of all the things with Matt Murray. He's a young player who already has an injury history. I would have to see a lot more over the course of time here to really feel good about the fact that he could stay healthy long enough to warrant a new contract.
They're in a pretty terrible spot with him, really. So I guess I'm agreeing with you guys in that his production or his resume already is absurd for his age. 2 Stanley Cups. He was the backstop completely just about for the 2016 one. And then even though Fleury rightly gets talked about as being so instrumental to 2017, it was still Murray shutting it down when it got down to crunch time and he got right physically. He's got the reputation, he's got the resume, but you have to be able to stay healthy to warrant that kind of money.
All right, now it's time for this week's Smooth Moves, brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops you're going to find anywhere. That would be Armina Stone. And so, guys, top to bottom, Andrew, first, what's your smooth move of the week?
Well, I don't think I've ever given Major League Baseball props, but I will for this, the home run derby, which is a thing that usually just generates buzz for, the 12 or 13-year-old out there that's looking for something to do and watch during the summer, incentivizing it. $1 million for the winner. That's what Josh Bell will be vying for in a couple of weeks. That would double his 2019 salary. So the heck with thinking about ruining my swing. If I'm Josh Bell, that's going to be the biggest night of the season for me. I'm looking for a huge payday. So I think that's pretty cool.
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I would say that it is Chris Archer who figured out a way to get out of a game before he got shelled again the other night when he was, clearly laboring and throwing lots of pitches like we always see. Gave up 2 runs in the first inning. He swung the bat really hard and apparently hurt himself.
Banned the DH.
And then he got out of the game. And then he got out of the game, and the Pirates had a chance.
My smooth move as a former talent search winner that nobody gave a chance to, Nate Lashley at the Rocket Mortgage event in the PGA Tour. Guy has overcome a ton of tragedy, was like the 3rd alternate, literally the last man into the tournament. All he did was shoot 25 under, which is more birdies than the vast majority of us will make all summer. So good for him.
25 under, amazing. At age 36, he gets it done on the PGA Tour. And those are the smooth moves brought to you by Armina Stone, the best place you're going to find in Pittsburgh to get the best marble, granite, stone, whatever you want. They have it from all over the world so that you can have the best opportunity to put it in your house. Armina Stone, check them out.